going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video with me, your host as always, K-Mac Time, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the rarest games in my personal collection. Now, before we get into that, I want to tell you guys just a little bit more about Gameflip.com. They're sponsoring this video. Very cool website. It's how I get a lot of my games online for great prices, shipped right to your door. They also sell current-gen systems all the way back to NES, all the way through Xbox One, PS4, and PC, and Steam codes. So check them out, link in the description. Very cool site, check them out like I said. But let's go ahead and jump into some of the rarest games in my collection, starting out with some of my most expensive NES games. Now, first game off here is Darkwing Duck, which is a Capcom game, and it's kind of similar to like a Mega Man platformer. This game's actually really cool. It's actually one of my favorite NES games to play. It's really hard though, I've not beaten it yet. It goes for about $50 to $55 in this condition, so I'm happy to have that. Another hard one to find in my collection that's kind of cool is Mario's Time Machine. Now, this game is absolutely awful. It's really, I don't even know how to describe it. It's supposed to be like an educational game where you go back and learn about history through time. It's really, really bad. It also came out on the Super Nintendo. That version is worth only about $10, but the NES version is worth about $60 in this condition. Terrible game, though, but I'm glad I have it in my collection. We also have what is the third installment of the Lolo series, Lolo 3. This is kind of like a puzzle game. You move around rocks and kind of make things, doors open and things like that. Switches twip. It's actually a really fun game. It's one of Wood's, if you guys are familiar with Wood from his channel. It's one of his favorite NES games. And it goes for about $50. The first two installments are a little bit less, but this one's harder to find. It came out kind of late. And finally on the NES, now this game itself isn't rare. I just want to show you guys that I have the Mario Bros. 3 complete in box. It's one of my favorite box arts ever. It's worth about $35. It's not terribly expensive. It's just something I thought was really, really cool to see survive all these years in this good a condition. So I was really happy to get that. So we're going to move on to some Super Nintendo games. I have only a few Super Nintendo games that are really the higher end stuff. There's some crazy ones. I did have a copy of Dracula X complete in box. I had a copy of Chrono Trigger complete in box, but I had to sell them, unfortunately. The only games I have left that are really kind of high-end stuff on the Super Nintendo, I have Kirby's Dream Land 3, which is an amazing game. I love the Kirby series. The Dream Land series is one of my favorites on the Game Boy as well. But this installment is the best, and it's awesome. But it goes for about $80 to $85 these days, so it's getting a little bit pricier. Another game that I have that's really gone up in price lately is Mega Man X3. Now, this is the last X game released on the Super Nintendo. It goes for about $200 now, which is absolutely insane to me. Very, very expensive, but an awesome game. If you guys want to play this game, you guys can get it, the Mega Man X collection on either the GameCube or PS2. The disc is a lot cheaper than buying the actual carts. That's how I play it, but that's really cool that I have it as well. Moving on to the collection that I have the most games in, which is the N64, so I have more games on this than pretty much any other system. And the first game we're starting out here with, this game isn't really rare per se, it's Ocarina of Time, but this is a collector's edition, and I actually have the box and manual for it as well. It's got, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's got like the reflective orange surface there. Just a really, really cool box. Super stoked to have. That's one of the coolest box arts ever, the collector's edition. I had to have that. Another game that is kind of getting harder to find these days is the Snowboard Kids series. This is the second Snowboard Kids. It's Snowboard Kids 2. It goes for about $50 to $60. I also have the original Snowboard Kids, which these are both Atlas games, by the way, so they're low print games. This is the original one in the box. Very hard to find the box in these kind of conditions. Any kind of N64 box just got ripped off the cardboard, just ruined by most kids. So to see a Snowboard Kids Atlas box in great shape, I was really stoked to get that for cheap. The next up game is a game called Hydro Thunder. Now, the game itself is usually about a $20 game when it's in the blue cart variant. They usually came in a blue cart. This, however, is, you guys can see, is a gray cart variant. It came out a lot later. It fixed a couple of bugs, I believe, in the game. There was kind of glitches in it. It kind of broke the game if you did certain things. So they released a gray cart variant that fixed a few of that. There's not as many of them, making it more collectible. They go for about $50 to $60 in the gray cart. Just got that yesterday, actually. Next up is probably one of the most expensive games on the system, and that is Bomberman Second Attack. It goes for about $150. I'm not really sure why this game didn't get a big print run, but it didn't. I mean, compared to Bomberman 64 and the other Bomberman game on N64, this one by far is the rarest and most expensive by about $100. So stoked to have that in the collection. Also have some staples. You have to have these in your collection if you're a big N64 collector, and that is Harvest Moon 64. Goes for about $50 or so. Kind of harder to come by these days. Not a big Harvest Moon fan. I did have Harvest Moon on SNES, complete in the box, which was worth about $400. But I had to sell that as well. And then also we have Conker's Bad Fur Day. Everyone loves this game. This game's in really high demand. It goes for about $70. The price has really gone down a little bit since the Rare Replay came out on the Xbox One. But finally, my most rarest and most valuable game that I own in all my entire collection has to be Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut on the N64, which was a Blockbuster exclusive game. It's basically just the same game as Sculptor's Cut 63 1/3, with a few different characters added in. That's basically the only difference. But like I said, it only came out at Blockbuster as a rental exclusive, so it's incredibly hard to find these, especially with the box. This loose cart in this condition would probably go for about $350 or so, if not more. If it had the box and manual, which are just impossible to find, it'd be worth over $2,500. Is what the last one sold for on eBay. Crazy expensive on that. But yeah, that's some of the rarest games in my collection. Let me know in the comment section down below, what are some of the rarest games that you have in your collection? I would love to know what you guys are into collecting, what you guys have on your shelf, what you guys are into playing. Also, make sure you guys check out Gameflip. Like I said, awesome website. They have super great deals on games of all generations, going back to NES, Atari, all that kind of stuff, going back all the way up to modern day stuff for great prices as well. But until next time, guys, remember, it's always K-Mac time somewhere. Take it easy, and peace.